What's up, guys? All right, so today I finally am going to do my quick little video about my thoughts on ETH and just answer the general question. I think the new narrative that's come out, like, is there a world that Ethereum could really hit $10,000 this year in 2021? And I just want to say off the bat that I'm a total ETH bull, so obviously I'm going to be biased to some extent. But I also think I'm just naturally a very conservative person. And especially as somebody who's also traded crypto since 2017, and have seen the fucking bear market, like a deep fucking dark parts of hell of the bear market, and was at the time almost called stupid for buying a $200 Ethereum. Um, I'm also pretty realistic and conservative, and I try and maintain that kind of outlook on everything when it comes to investing or financial markets. Um, but ever since back in that really dark bear market where I even bought an ETH at like $200, it's almost crazy right now to look at this ETH chart here. We're looking at the daily chart on Binance, and just to see this price point of $3,378, which is slightly off that high that was hit earlier, 3,600. It's just absolutely crazy to see, and we're not seeing really any bearish signs of a reversal. I mean, no lower highs, no lower lows. I mean, nothing really. I mean, it just is. It's just kept on chugging along, and it's honestly, of course, like ETH has been by far the best investment I've ever made in terms of pure financial returns. But I also just want to discuss a little more, like, how much further can we go? Because I know that there is quite a lot of new money in the space. And, like, if you're new to crypto, like, you don't understand how fucking terrible the bear markets can be and how bad crypto can really drop. You're just used to seeing everything going up. So I always wanted to give my thoughts on, like, like, especially these YouTube shill fucks, they just shill anything, and they keep on shilling now the new narrative 10,000. Like, how realistic is 10,000? And if you listen to every YouTuber, they're going to tell you that 10,000 is, at this point, it's a joke. Like, we're going to hit it, no problem. BitBoy fucking talking about 27,000. God, like, talking out of his ass like that. Um, and I really just want to give my thoughts on it. Um, the first thing is that I think, like, the biggest mistake that beginners also, or people who are new to the crypto space, make is that they keep on looking at Ethereum as like just like some sort of currency. Um, and all you need to do is look at the price of Ethereum to really understand its value. But the reality is first of all, it's called Ether, not Ethereum. Ethereum is actually the name of the overall blockchain, but because Ethereum it almost operates kind of like a like a like a like a almost like its own country or economy, where, like, you can basically conduct business on this Ethereum economy, right, that's provided by the blockchain. You have to really think about it much more in terms of like almost like GDP, or like a valuation that you would give a company, right? So it's important to be looking at the market cap of Ethereum, not necessarily just the price. And if we really take a look at the market cap of Ethereum right now, it's just crazy to see that right now we're basically at about a market cap or valuation of $400 billion. Guys, like, not even like 1 year ago, we were at a valuation of 22 billion. So that's just really, really puts things into perspective of how much this has gained in value. It's just absolutely crazy. And, if you look at the articles that came out, Ethereum is now bigger, for example, than the Bank of America, right, in terms of market cap, bigger than Nestle. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy to see, and the question that you have to really ask yourself is, and this is only at a price of $3,000, right? So it's the price times the market supply, or the supply of ETH available, right? Um, the thing that you have to really think about, guys, when talking about a $10,000 ETH, right, is that would essentially mean a tripling, right, of ETH's current price, and that would also then consequently mean a tripling of the market cap. So we're talking about a $1 trillion market cap for ETH, which is just almost crazy to think about. And you have to really ask yourself, like, I mean, does that even make sense? You know, like, does ETH really, is it really that valuable? And I mean, the brutally honest answer, I think, like, and I think everybody would ultimately admit this if you asked them, you know, and they were being honest, they had like a lie detector test. Of course, it's incredibly overvalued. When you really, really think about the transactions that happen on ETH, like that's something that gets brought up a lot, right? Like, all the active addresses have now jumped up to about 771,000 addresses and growing. And also that the number of transactions have increased so much to 1.376 million, blah, 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 $1.5 million settled in transactions in the first quarter alone. People will always point to these figures, and obviously these are impressive numbers, you know, especially when you compare this to like other entities like banks. You know, banks don't settle this many transactions, right? But I think the thing that we have to always seriously remember, guys, is that a lot of these transactions that are happening on ETH are purely speculative. It's not the everyday style of investment of, like, you know, like what DeFi is always preaching, like, oh, you can make interest on your crypto or on your stable coins. Yes, deposit with us, very similar to a savings account, and just earn that interest. It's not like that, right? A lot of the transactions that are happening on Ethereum right now are purely of speculative nature. Okay, buying this random shitcoin on Uniswap, um, making this absurd returns with these crazy APRs, and making this absurd interest on like these very small cap and small business platforms, right, that are offering this. These are the types of transactions that are really boosting up these numbers, right, on ETH. And as soon as the market turns, as soon as people start taking profits, you bet your ass believe that, like, people are going to be withdrawing their money on ETH, right? People are going to be selling their ETH. People are not going to be using the Ethereum blockchain nearly as much, and these transaction numbers are just going to drop so drastically. Okay, so we have to still really remember that a lot of even these types of user numbers or these transaction numbers are totally overblown just because of the nature of the market right now. Ethereum still, as much as I'm an ETH bull and as much as I believe in the fundamental value down the road in a few years for ETH, where like even I could see my parents, instead of depositing their, you know, life savings on in the bank, they take some of it and deposit on a particular platform that's built on the ETH blockchain. Uh, we have to realize, like, that is not the type of usage that ETH is necessarily receiving right now. So don't believe all the bullshit that people like to shill. Right now we're in a bull market. You have to remember that this is the most ridiculous crypto bull market we've ever been in. So just like last time, when in 2017, when we were going through the crazy bull market at that time, right? Um, all the news, all the numbers seem to correlate with the market going up more and more and more. You know, more transactions happening. You know, more people getting interested. Blah 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 blah. And there's also good news that happens all the right times. You know, oh, you know, the European central bank is going to have digital yields with ETH. Blah 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 blah. All these things just seem to happen at the right time, but this can turn extremely quickly. And the reality is, guys, is that you have to remember that even when ETH was back at a valuation of, you know, let's say $400 or $700 some months ago, the fundamentals were still the same. Technologically, ETH was still on the same development path. ETH was still being developed, and dApps were being developed, which were going to be kind of almost, you know, revolutionary. This was still happening back then during the bear market. So what's really changed? It's not like this development is now happening quicker as a result of this bull market, right? So everybody who's shilling the fundamental gains or the fundamental growth that Ethereum is experiencing, 100% is telling truth, but at the same time, um, it's not necessarily just a pure reason that ETH is now going to shoot up to $10,000, because that's always been the case. This fundamental value has always been there. It's just that maybe people didn't realize it before, right? Um, the other thing you have to remember as well, guys, okay? Like, most people who are probably owning Ethereum at this point have no fucking idea what it even is. That's just the brutal fucking reality. Like, honestly, like, if you're watching this video, um, you probably do know, because like, how on earth the fuck were you going to find this video? But, you know, for the average retail investor, they have absolutely no fucking idea what Ethereum is. They don't understand what Ether is. They have no idea what is its value proposition. They have absolutely no idea. They've probably never read the white paper. They've probably never even watched a fucking video on it, apart from some BitBoy fucking video just shilling the shit out of it. They don't even understand what EIP 1559 is. They don't understand what ETH, the difference between ETH 1.0 and ETH 2.0 is. So again, this fundamental value, yes, it's highly important when you're holding like me for the extreme long term, you know, for at least the next 5 years bare minimum. But as of right now, in terms of driving the price, yes, it has value if it's just purely used as a narrative to shill ETH. But most people just have no idea what the fuck this shit even is. So they're just purely speculating, okay? So don't fall into this logical fallacy of just saying, oh, you know, EIP 1559 is being released in the next hard fork. Oh, ETH 2.0 is coming, and now they're saying that it may be released at the end of this year. Definitely, probably not, but oh, it may be happening, and blah, 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 right? Oh, gas fees are, you know, improving right now, blah, 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 and it's just happening right now because of, you know, ETH price going up. No, gas fees were always an issue, right? So don't fool yourself in thinking that these narratives are just like, that these narratives aren't being used at the moment just to drive price by a lot of people who are purely speculating, right? Don't forget that these narratives have honestly not changed. It's just that now they're being used for speculative purposes, right? So with that being said, to go back to the original question, do I think that ETH could hit $10,000? Yes, I mean, why would you suspect otherwise when, you know, the technicals are looking good, the fundamentals are looking good? Yes, well, the fundamentals were always there, and now these fundamental narratives, right, like the 1559 release and 2.0, are going to be used to shill the shit out of it, right? It's not the fundamentals that are causing this price increase, right? It's not the fact that there's going to be a triple halvening, right, event, right, when, you know, if Ether becomes a deflationary currency, right? None of that from a fundamental standpoint matters to the price. It matters more like, how much are people going to start shilling these narratives? Narratives are so important in a bull market like this, right? And with narratives and a lot of people with extra money to spend now, with the stimulus coming in, and just the general, just how the overall global economy is at the moment with COVID, and then the recovery and blah, 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 and people wanting to take more risk because they may be out of work and all these different things. Sure, I mean, ETH hitting $10,000 and $1 trillion market cap is not out of the ordinary. It's something that could realistically happen. If we also want to take a look at just a couple of, you know, crypto market charts that are really important, if we look at Bitcoin dominance, right, which is basically how much of the total market cap of cryptocurrency is dominated by Bitcoin. Right now, we're at 45%. We're reaching to the lows of back in the previous peak, right, of 40%. But we still have a ways to go here. So could ETH gain a lot of this BTC dominance and see a lot of that liquidity cycle from BTC right into ETH? Totally. And ETH, of course, has much stronger narratives now than it did before, right? Because before, in the 2017 cycle, ETH was just still purely speculative. There was no apps, dApps, right? There was none of that. DeFi wasn't really a thing. It was just purely theoretical. NFTs weren't a thing. That was purely theoretical. And now we have all of that, and people are going to shill the shit out of those narratives. So I could easily also see this. Yes, we'll probably get a bounce back up at this 40% level, but I could totally see this going further down. Totally see it going further down, right? As people start to also even shill narratives like ETH is better than Bitcoin. ETH holds more value than Bitcoin. ETH is going to be more the supply is going to be even lower than Bitcoin. It's going to be deflationary and all these different things. I could totally see the Bitcoin dominance here for this bull run getting to 35 or even 30%. I mean, that's totally realistic, and that could lead to a $10,000 ETH. But don't fool yourself, guys. Just because it's going up right now doesn't mean it's going to stay up there because of fundamentals. That's bullshit. That's total bullshit. 100%. This Ethereum is still completely overvalued, and I can say that as a fucking bull. So yeah, what am I personally going to do in terms of how I plan to trade ETH over the coming months? I'm probably just going to collect more because I'm just such an ETH bull anyway. I love it. I see it as a way to also, I see like all the time that ETH is gaining more and more value as an asset, right? I can put it and make an NFT. I can deposit it now in certain DeFi apps and earn interest. I can do so many different things with it now, right? It can still act kind of like a store of value. So it's just gaining more and more value on that fundamental level. And because I'm kind of like that, I know that it's going to have very strong fundamental value in 5-10 years. I'm just going to continue accumulating, honestly. It doesn't really change for me. Would I ever consider selling a bit of it in this bull market? Yeah, sure. I probably would, but definitely not all of it. And purely the idea would be to sell it. So I have some cash assets, and when it comes back down to a more realistic valuation, I'll probably buy in again and just continue building my ETH wealth per se, right? But yeah, do I expect a $10,000 ETH? I don't know. I could see people shilling it though. That's for sure. So just make sure that you're ready for an eventual turn. That's what I always say. Don't expect this to last forever. There's a good chance that this could turn at any point in time. That's what happened last time, and that could easily happen again. So bear that in mind, guys. Okay? If you guys have any more questions about ETH, let me know, drop a comment or whatever. I'm going to leave some links of some really good Ethereum video content so that if you guys really don't understand what ETH is fundamentally, you can watch that content. They'll explain it much better than me. But do your research, guys, man. If you guys are going to tell me that you're ETH bulls, at least understand what the fuck it does. That's the big thing. Once that mindset changes where people just don't purely speculate on ETH and actually want to understand how the hell it works and what value it can really provide to this world, only then will ETH really actually get to those levels that I as a bull really foresee in the future and really gain that strong fundamental value. Okay? Thanks, guys.